Okay, welcome back. Playing Black Dahlia and we're up to disc 4. Okay, let's hop straight into it. Look at dressed up for us too. Aren't we taking up? No.
Well, well, if it isn't Mr. Mulehaven and his esteemed guest.
You must be James Pearson of the COI. Joseph's told me all about your little visit.
I've got enough to pin on you to send you back to Germany. Joseph.
I wonder if you wouldn't be so kind as to allow Mr. Pearson and myself to chat privately.
All right, listen, mister. I know what you're up to, and I don't like it.
My dear Mr. Pearson, you have no idea at all what I am up to. You are, how do you say it, in over your head.
Well, now, the way I see it is that you're the one who's in over your head. Now, maybe if you had some of your thugs here to back you up, things would be a little different. But right now, I'm the one holding all the cards.
We've somehow managed to get off on the wrong foot. For that, I am sorry. We are not so different, you and I, as you might think.
I am nothing like you.
Perhaps. But we are both after the same thing, no? I merely seek to return to my homeland what is rightfully ours. I prefer to do so as diplomatically as possible, without conflict. The incident at the loft was a terrible mistake. We were merely after the lackey's key.
The key? What key?
It looks much like an iron cross, does it not? It is a symbol of military honor in my country.
Well, it looks like I can add interfering with a federal investigation to the list of charges. I think it's about time you and I left quietly.
I have no intention of doing any such thing.
So let's not cause a scene.
Oh, well, you're moving up in the world, sport. I never thought to see you in such a ritzy place as this. Have you met Elliot Ness?
No, but...
No buts about it, then you simply have to meet him. I'm sure you'd like to meet the ladies, too, huh? Young bachelor like you ought to knock them dead. Elliot, I want you to meet Jim Pearson. Now, he's the young fella I've been talking about. The man who's going to give the COI some legs to stand on.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Jim.
Likewise, Mr. Ness.
Please, call me Elliot.
Oh, no, you can't leave without saying hello to the ladies now, Jimbo. What would they think?
Hello.
Hello. It's a pleasure to meet you.
At CD4. Let's talk to these scumbags. You look like you have something to say. You look overly happy. You... don't know about you, but you seem to be looking at us with suspicion.
I'm sorry. I've got to run.
Don't be silly, Jimbo. You just got here.
I'll be sure to stop back later, though.
He's a bit of a strange bird, that fella.
Well, we need to solve another puzzle in order to get this puzzle done.
What's back there?
Private room, sir. It's not open tonight.
But I just saw somebody go in there. Mulhaven's friend, Jim.
That's a good one. What is he, a spy?
Is there something back there a spy would want?
I've been watching this door all night. There ain't nobody in there.
He went through when you were talking to Mulhaven.
Are you saying I haven't been doing my job?
I'm sure you've been doing a fine job watching the door. I haven't seen it go anywhere all night. There is a man back there, and I've got to get him. Now, am I going to have to...
To what? If you don't beat it, mister, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll toss you out in your can. Don't give me any more lip, mister. Or else.
Or else what? Sure, I still got a revolver somewhere. Look at that. Yeah, see? They talked about him, Joseph Mulhaven, being Chicago. That's Joseph Schwab. That's in Chicago. It's interesting. Okay, so I still need to. Hmm. Yeah, FID. Something, HF. Hmm. You put your glasses in, you spin it about. You take the glasses out, and you do the hokey pokey. That's because we need something else there as well. Yeah.
This might just come in handy.
Mm-hmm. That might be just what we need. Uh, that's there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the gala premiere of The Raven Room. We hope you've been enjoying the festivities so far this evening.
What's going on here, huh?
Break the door down.
Open the
Come on,
door.
get in there, dude.
Will you open the door?
Let's go. Come on.
Come on, fellas.
What are you doing back here?
What's going on here?
We caught this guy trespassed.
Call for a squad
Oh,
car.
shouldn't the Bureau handle this?
We'll sort it all out later. Call for a squad car. All right, give us some room here. Let's go, people. This is official business. Come on, let's go.
have a magic flashlight. We must have pulled that out of our rump. That's a very old map, isn't it? Astrological map. This is based on the idea that Earth, everything rotated around the Earth rather than the Sun. So you got Earth there, Luna, which is the Moon, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, I assume. Martis would be Mars, I think. Probably Jupiter. Or Uranus. And Saturn. It's also an astrological thing, so they're probably the right names anyway, but yeah. Probably should take note of all that too. Oh, right. This is the table puzzle as well. Whether we do that now or later is another story. The principles of our canon. Loyal knights of the Brotherhood, know ye that all who bear the mantle of Thule do so under the following precepts. Loyalty. A knight will remain true to his faith, to his heritage, and to his order. Indeed, they are truly one and the same. Valor. Courage is our watchword, our metal and our libation. Courage to speak the truth, to bide our time, to bear witness at the drawing of a new world order. Study. Knowledge is power, but wisdom is enlightenment. A knight strives to extend his consciousness beyond the illusions of modern science to grasp arcane lore of his distant ancestors. Like learning druidism, druids and stuff. Sacrifice. No goal worth achieving can be gained without personal immolation. Sacrifice. A knight must be willing to shed the sterile comforts of his sedentary existence, his safe and weak-minded moral doctrines in order to serve the Trinity and exalt the Brotherhood of Thule. Knights of Thule, awake! The old order shall be restored, and the Trinity shall rise like the black eagle. Reclaim your heritage, rejoice in the time of Thule, ascend with the black eagle. The order is your heritage. Devote yourselves to your heritage. Your heritage is Tuatonic. Your loyalty is Tuatonic. Acknowledge your hegemony. Submit and be free. Yeah, that was in the translations I was trying to decipher. gift to him is no defaulted. So it's each gift to him is now devoted. Which probably can see properly in here. Helen's notes. Yeah, each gift to him is now devoted. Yeah, I think you gotta open it up in a particular order as well. Yeah, you gotta open up in a particular order to open this one up, which is Ludendorff. Doesn't help, does it? I mean, I'm assuming that's viewing it from this side, I'm assuming. I might be wrong. But if you want to open them up, you use the signet ring. So there's 2 letters. Okay, this may be part of this inventory, which is line 22. Parchment, wasn't it? Parchment sheets. Line 22. Maybe. This one. Right, it can easily be broken down into 12 pairs of runes. So, I'm just going to write some stuff down and see what we can come up with. And by write some stuff down, I mean pretty much that line there. Despite some of the runes being the wrong way around. And like I said, it uses, like Helen said, it uses phonetics. And those 2 dots have spaces, more or less. I assume I wrote that down right. That's probably that weird AE symbol too, by the way. That could be CH. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We won't go on that. That's probably a V. Okay, I should have that perfectly written down. Well, as perfect as handwriting goes, anyway. So, I just got to look for the right symbols. Oops. No. Oh yeah. Blah blah. So we want. Nope. This one looks right. So we open our inventory. Can't do that. It does it automatically. We just click on it. Nurture by Valor. We're looking for this one by the looks of it. Consistency is zone reward, I think. That would be. Probably should mark these two off, or at least underline them somehow. That would be the INF now. That's not the INF, is it? No, that's the INF. Huh. Access breeds complacency. That one should be done. That's the double T, which is this one by the looks of it. Courage is my metal. Okay. Now it's O and H, which is not that one. By that one, I mean that one. It's this one here. So now it's I and M. This one. That's I and S, which is this one. Now N and O, which is probably maybe that one over there. Nope, this one here. That one looks right. Now we want the V and D. Yeah, it'll be one of those over there. This one here by the looks of it. Oh no, I haven't been reading them out. Oh, it says Transcendent Joy. This one. I've been marking them in such a way that I might be able to tell something as well. All men together. So it should be O and T. That's the last one. That looks like it. Oh, the intrepid ancestry. It didn't open. Okay, I did it wrong. But basically, the yellow writing is the first character. The black writing is the second character. That's what it looks like to me, anyway. So there might have been some duplicates. Checking. Doesn't look like it. No, it doesn't look like it. So, why aren't you opening up? Did it reset? Yeah, it reset. Okay. Let's see if we can do this again. ST, but I will have a better idea on what I'm doing now. Yep. Nurtured by Vala. Yep. Consistency is its own reward. Is that the one? That looks like the one. Excess breeds complacency. And it's just the double T. It just looks like this one. Courage is my metal. They also probably need to be done in the right order as well. Other than what we're doing. Based on the paradigms on the walls that we looked at before. So I probably should write these down. That was the double T one, wasn't it? The V, O, and H. Which looks like this one. Hardship is my birthright. The I and M. Looks like this one. Compassion is not apathy. Oh no, it's not. It's empathy. IS looks like this one. Stagnation resists no challenge. Stagnation is the complete resisting of challenge. No, stagnation is the resisting of change. Okay. What one was that one? Because now I'm completely lost. This one? Oops. Bugger. Oh well, I probably screwed it up anyway. But like I said, I probably should be writing these down anyway. We'll try it in order anyway. So you want the EAT? Looks like this one. Not sure. By Bella. There's probably another hidden meaning, because each word can be represented by a rune. Next one is this one. Consistency. I think it says consistency. It's hard to read it. Yeah. I don't know. Consistency is its own word. So not consistency, but oh, I've only opened two. So yeah, the IF looking one. Was it that one? This one? Yep. Yes. Breed. Complacency. It's the double T looking one. Courage is my metal. Next one is the O&H. Like this one. Hardship is my birthright. Now the IM looking one. This one. Compassion. Is not apathy. Now the IS looking one. Which was this one. Stagnation. Resist. No challenge. Now the NO one. This one. The heritage. Merits. Strife. What? Put a question mark behind that one. Ooh. Now it's the V and D one. Probably this way. This one. And it's enjoy. Which does not mean stop having sex. And pleasure and joy are two different things. This one. All men together. O and T, which is that one on the far side there. Yep. Of intrepid ancestry. And then the last one is that one. Oh, I must have did it wrong the first time around.
This is my jurisdiction. It's a federal offense.
It happened in city lines, you federal son of a bitch!
Why, you provincial little... Elliot, help me out here.
This isn't the place for this. Meet me in my office in an hour.
I knew that Mr. Sullivan was going to be plenty sore with me for causing such a fuss at the Raven Room, but it was worth it. The next day I decided to avoid the office and give him a chance to cool down, while I headed off to Sunnyvale instead. Now that I had all three of his magic trinkets in hand, I was eager to see what Mr. Penske would do with them. Unfortunately, I never got the chance.
Where's Mr. Penske?
I'm sorry, who is it that you're looking for?
Mr. Penske?
I'm sorry, there's no one named Penske here.
But he was just in here yesterday. You were there, I saw you.
You must be mistaken, sir. This room has been unoccupied for some time. Are you sure you have the right place?
But that's impossible. He was just here. I saw it.
Sir. Are you all right, sir? You seem a little flushed. Perhaps I can find something to calm your nerves.
No. No, thanks. I'll be just fine.
Come down, please.
My leads grew cold as the coming winter. I was still at a loss to explain Walter Penske's sudden disappearance, but at least the nightmares had stopped. Now I simply drifted in and out of a dreamless sleep. I lost all track of time. the result of too many restless nights that left me with little energy to uncover the secrets of the Brotherhood of Thule. How they were linked to the Torso Killer, I wasn't sure. 8 victims down, 1 to go, if this guy really following the prophecy of the ritual. And afterwards, God only knows what might happen. Like the calm before the storm, I sensed that something big was waiting to happen. And somehow, I would be in the center of it all. Maybe this Madame Cassandra can explain to me what's been going on.
Before we get to that, what the table said, nurture by valor, consistency is its own reward, excess breeds, blah 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 blah. True heritage merits strife, transcend joy, all men together of intrepid ancestry. These last two. Oh. Dear Mr. Pearson, Walter Pensky has asked me to contact you on a matter of utmost importance. He believes that you are in great danger and that I may be able to provide you with some assistance in your hour of need. Please come to my home as quickly as possible. I await you, Cassandra Rollins.
Madame Cassandra awaits you.
Something weighs heavy on your heart. What is it that is troubling you? Ow! Oh, your aura has been branded.
What?
Oh, your spirit. It carries a very dark cloud.
Ma'am, I'm not following any of your Swami acts. Can you speak to me in plain English? How about we start with why you sent me this?
Why, you must be the young man from the COI.
That's right, ma'am. I'm Jim Pearson. Now, Madam Cassandra?
You're among friends now, Jim, please. My name is Cassie. Oh, Dottie! Dottie! Oh, hello, Dottie. Could you please bring Mr. Pearson and I a cup of tea?
Yes, madam.
This Madame Cassandra bit, it's just for my clients. Thank you. Now, I'm sure there's lots to talk about between you and I.
Yes, ma'am.
Well then, shall we begin?
Shall we begin?
Have you heard from Mr. Pensky? You mentioned in your letter that he'd been in touch with you.
Just an odd little note with no return address. It only just arrived. It said if I were to receive this message, he would be out of reach for some time, and that I was to contact you immediately on a matter of utmost importance. He didn't mention what that matter was.
How long ago was this?
I only just received his letter. I wrote you straight away. Walter wouldn't have sent me that message without good reason.
Are you and Mr. Pensky very close to one another?
Well, if anyone can be close to that stubborn old mule, I guess it's me.
Well, I'm sure he's fine, wherever he is. Mr. Pensky was supposed to help me with something. Well, it may all sound a little strange,
There's nothing strange under the sun. There are only small minds with small views of the world around us.
Well, he had me find these 3 trinkets. A book, a feather, and this fang. There's some kind of magic charms that are supposed to... Well, they're to help me with some problems with these nightmares that I was having. He was going to show me how to use them. The darndest thing is, my nightmares have stopped. Only I hardly sleep at all now.
The talismans are only temporary measures. Walter understood that. He should, after all. That's what I taught him. The problem is that your aura is still branded. You must be cleansed.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Cassie, I just don't get what it is you're trying to tell me.
That's okay, Jim. Let me try to explain this to you in layman's terms. Your spirit has an energy which someone like me, someone with a trained eye, can see. That energy glows with a white light. With you, I see a black shadow surrounding that light. Someone has tried to invade your spirit. Those nightmares are merely symptoms. Your subconscious mind is much more powerful.
Whoa, you're losing me again.
Someone is attacking you through your dreams. The 3 talismans are keeping them at bay, but that's only temporary. You must use them against your tormentor if you wish to be free.
Okay. So how do I get this guy?
It is dangerous, but you must stop them at the source.
I don't care about the danger. I just want to get this guy.
I can put you in a trance. You can travel to your dream state and face the source of your nightmares.
No offense, ma'am, but this all sounds like a lot of hooey to me.
Right. Is it any crazier than the nightmares that have plagued you already?
I don't guess so.
Shall we begin?
Shall we? Are we ready? Are we ready to take a leap so beyond our imagination that we fracture our mind, possibly our soul? Why, yes, we shall.
Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
When the bird is away, she's with the moon. She's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is the bird, but only when she's alone. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. Only when the crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The sun loves the bird.
I might have to write some of this down.
The bird is away from the sun. She's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids. She's with the moon when the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's on the bird's side.
Might be it. There's 4 sets of clues that I've come across.
She's away from the sun. She's with the moon, the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves him and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird sit on. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids them.
Alright. Now I see. Hopefully. Alright, you take him out. Four sets of 4. So, which clue is first? Yeah, I've got to try and decipher this. Oh, God, this is not going to be easy. Because we got 4 sets of clues here. When the bird is away from the sun, she is with the moon. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The crown and the bird sits on his left and right. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. How does this relate to this? I'm not sure, but we got no idea, to be honest. I mean, we can take all these out, but we can only adjust one of them at a time. Yeah. So we've got 2 fish, 2 bird, 2 snake. I don't remember anything about snake. Maybe I missed a clue. Wouldn't be too hard. And there's a key by the look of it. Yeah, it's a key. And we've got 2 keys. I don't know which one's the sun, which one's the moon. That would be the moon, though. We've got 2 shields. And a sun and a star, I assume? Meteor, crown. The crown and the bird sits on his left and right and left.
The crown and the bird sit on his right and left. The crown and the bird, sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, she's with the moon. When the bird is away from the sun, but only when she's alone. When the bird is away from the sun. Fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company. Right and left. The crown and the bird. The keys are creatures of the sun. 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 The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The bird and the fish. The serpent rises after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The serpent rises after the sun and sets after the moon. The keys are creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures of the star. The serpent will chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will chase. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By day the shield surrounds itself. Has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield and its sibling. No twin can stand 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 itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon and the fish. By the comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key, no twin can stand it save the moon. The moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet. No twin can stand its sibling. No twin can. The star follows the key. 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 You know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right and east is the left. Prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown, though a lonely crown prefers the key. A lonely fish loves the crown. The star follows the key. If west is the key, the star follows the key. The star. fish loves it. The sun will rise the key. The star follows the key. The star follows the moon. You know on which side the sun will rise. Prefers the key. A lonely fish the key. Follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key can stand its sibling. No twin can stand it. Prefers the moon, and the twin can stand it. The star follows the key. The star follows prefers the key. Moon is set. If west is the right and east is the left, you know it's far away. The key sibling. No twin can fish. By day itself with the sun and the key. The shield surrounds itself with the sun and the key. By night he prefers the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon. Shield when the moon is far away. The keys are creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures by the star. The serpent will chase. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen after the moon has risen. Fish. By day that no twin can stand. The star follows the key. The star only crown prefers the key. Sun will set. And west is the star and east is the left. You know on which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. If west is the right, is far away. Stand its sibling. No twin can stand its sibling. The star follows the key. The star alone. On which the moon will set. Prefers the moon and the fish. By day that no twin can stand its sibling far away. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the shield when the moon. The keys are creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures of the sun. The bird and the fish are the base of all. The star follows the keys. The star.
Oh, let me out.
Which side the sun will rise and on which the moon will set. A lonely fish loves the crown. The star follows which the moon will set. If wet, no twin can stand its sibling. No, the star follows the key. Though a lonely crown is in on which the moon will set. If west is the when the moon is far away, can stand its sibling. No twin can stand its sibling. No twin can shield when the moon is far away. The key follows the comet is seen after the moon. By day the sun can stand its sibling. No twin can stand. The star follows the key. The star follows you. A lonely fish loves the crown. You know on which side the sun will rise follows the key. The star. If west. The key follows the shield when the moon is far away. The keys are creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures that chase the comet's tail, if not chased itself by the star. The serpent will the comet is seen after the moon has risen. The comet is seen. The key follows the shield when the keys are creatures of the sun. The keys chase itself by the base of all. The bird and the fish are the star follows the keys. The star follows the key. Is the key. Alone is the right and east is the left. You know on which side the sun will rise. The moon is far away can stand its sibling. No twin can stand its sibling. The key follows the moon has risen. The prefers the by day the no twin can stand the sibling. No the star follows the key. The star follows and prefers the key. The moon will set. If west is the star far away can stand. He follows the shield. The keys are creatures of the sun. If not chased itself like a star. This bird and the fish are the base of creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures of the sun. The keys are creatures of the sun. The sun loves the bird, but only when she's alone. The crown and the bird sit on his right, though she avoids their company. The fish are creatures of the moon, though she avoids their company.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
I was floating in the night sky. I was surrounded by colored spheres.
Like the stars and the planets?
I suppose so.
There must be a pattern. You need to find it. In astrology, the spheres are associated with any number of things: colors, metals, numbers, even angels. Find the associations and you will be able to find your way through the spheres. Perhaps this will help.
What is it?
It's a book on astrology. It will help you see the patterns amongst the stars and planets.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Do you mind if I have another look at that book?
Not at all.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
Could you put me in a trance?
Of course. Let's begin. Now relax. Concentrate on the locket. Block everything else out. Concentrate, concentrate, concentrate.
Thanks for your help.
You're quite welcome, Jim. I'm glad to help.
I was in this giant hall, and at the base of a throne, there was a pool, and around the edge of the pool were these little stones. And then when I placed one of those stones in the pool, I saw things.
The stones are iconic. They are a representation or a symbol of a person. These icons allow you to see who they represent through your dreams. It's a simple matter to create these icons. All you need is a personal item or some kind of totem to represent who you want to see.
I saw myself in there. I was at this very table in a trance. You were by my side.
Yes. Your attacker must have obtained a totem of yours. Any personal item of importance would have worked. A lock of your hair, something you cared about deeply, like a family heirloom.
My St. Christopher's medal. It's been missing.
Yes, that certainly would have worked. Of course, you could turn the tables on him and see him in your dream if you had one of his totems. It would have to be something personal, something that was part of him, something that he uses regularly.
If I knew who he was, I wouldn't need to see him in my dreams. I'd go straight after the son of a bitch. Excuse me, ma'am.
It's quite all right, Jim. I've heard far worse. It's true, finding an appropriate totem won't be easy. It may aid you yet.
All right. If I can find anything like that, I'll be sure to bring it to you.
What's on your mind?
I know you're going to think this is a little screwy, sir, but... well, I am convinced that there is a connection between this Brotherhood of Thule and the Torso killings.
I'd say you'd lost your marbles, but I think I know you a little better than that. All the same, that's rather a large leap of logic, don't you think? What proof do you have?
Nothing firm, maybe just a hunch.
I'm gonna need something more solid than a hunch.
Well, for starters, there's Louis Fisher. Now, we know he worked for this Brotherhood, and he was only killed after I got a hold of him at the Raven Room. Now, I think he was killed by this Brotherhood to keep him from talking, and they sent his head in a box to try to scare me away. But Detective Marilow is convinced that he was murdered by the Torso killer. That's a mighty big coincidence, don't you think?
Go on.
Well, here's the really screwy part. There's the Black Dahlia.
The black what?
Dahlia, sir. It's a rare gem. Legend has it that whoever has this thing will be granted great powers, but only after you give it a blood sacrifice of 9 victims. It's hoodoo nonsense, sir, but it must be pretty valuable, because Von Hess was just a little too eager to get his hands on it. That's what got him into hot water at the Raven Room.
What does this gemstone of yours have to do with the Raven Room?
I think this Brotherhood uses the Raven Room as a front, and whoever's behind this society, he's the one with the Dahlia. That's what Von Hess was trying to get in the club's back room.
Now, let me see if I've got this straight. The Brotherhood of Thule uses the Raven Room as its front, and they have this magic gemstone the Nazis want? And, if I understand you correctly, the Torso killings are all on account of this Black Dahlia as well?
I know it sounds half-baked.
I don't think it's even made it into the oven, Mr. Pearson.
Trust me on this one, sir. Please. I know I don't have any proof, but if I'm sure of anything, I'm sure of this.
The torso killer is connected to the Brotherhood of Thule, and all these murders are tied up somehow in this black gem of theirs.
Very well. I'll let you pursue this. For now, talk to Winslow and Merlo. See what they've got on the torso killings. See if you can't find some solid evidence of a connection to the Raven Room. Now, I'm sure I don't need to tell you we can have no more incidents like the one we had at the party. See if you can't handle this a little more delicately.
Thank you, sir. You won't regret this.
See that I don't, Mr. Pearson.
What happened to that Von Hess fellow?
He's in Winslow's hands. I've requested that he be turned over into our custody, but I'm afraid the FBI has all the pull with the men in Washington right now. I should imagine, however, that at the very least, he'll be deported to Germany.
Jimbo! What can I do you for?
What happened to Mr. Penske? What did the Bureau do with him?
Why, whatever you talking about, sport?
Why was Mr. Penske moved from his room at Sunnyvale?
Look, now, I don't have any idea what it is you're all worked up about. Last I heard, he was shipped off to a sanitarium after his crack-up. Now, if he had been moved, I'm sure it was due to his doctor's recommendations.
What happened to Von Hess?
We're questioning him right now. I imagine he'll be sent back to Germany shortly.
Did he spill anything?
Said he had every right to be at that party. Won't say what he wanted in that back room, though.
I'd like to see the evidence in the torso case.
Jimbo, that's hardly your jurisdiction.
True, but I believe there's a connection between my case and your killer.
That doesn't seem very likely. How do you figure?
Well, there's the Louis Fisher murder.
Louis Fisher worked at many different places and made quite a few enemies. It doesn't surprise me that the torso killer was one of them.
Come in. What can I do for you, Pearson?
I'd like to see the evidence in the torso case.
Yeah, right, kid. Why would I need another Fed interfering in my investigation? One's plenty.
Because I think I can help you.
You know, kid, you made me curious. Why do you need to see the torso evidence?
Oh, come on, detective. You smelled a rat ever since my man's head turned up in a box. My case is all wrapped up in this torso killing business. You know it, I know it. All I'm asking for is a little help. Let me see the case file. If anything in my investigation turns up that should have a bearing on your case, you'll be the first person I come to. Or, if you prefer, I can go straight to Winslow.
You know, I'm beginning to like you, Pearson. You'd have made a good cop. Who knows? Maybe you can help me. Nothing like getting a fresh pair of eyes on it anyways. Here you go. Knock yourself out.
Thanks, Detective.
Anything for you, kid.
Do apologize about there being no sound from my microphone. I didn't realize what happened. Some updates happened. I had to reboot my computer. Apparently everything defaulted back to a virtual sound mixer, so I'll fix that for now and we'll just continue on, I suppose. Suffice to say, back at that door, I was saying that I'd spent many hours trying to solve it, but to no avail, so we used a guide. I pretty much spent like 2 days, almost 2 days on it. Well, 4 hours of one day, 4 hours on another day, today that is, trying to solve it to no real avail. I'm trying to figure out the clues and stuff like that. So we used a guide which gave us hints to the clues, which then we utilized the solve that they had as well. As for the planetary stuff, in case you missed it, that there's two possible solutions. Well, there's two possible answers to the solution, but only one of them is correct. Let me just see if I can find my notes on it. Oh, many notes. Here it is. Okay. The first four is going to be Saturn, Mars, Mercury, and Venus. Those four will not change. But the incorrect solution would be actually, there are two solutions. The incorrect one is Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, then Earth. The correct one is Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Earth. And throughout that planetary process, I was talking about how at the starting point you had Saturn and Moon, and Saturn gave access to Earth and Mars, and Earth gave access to Mercury and Mars, and Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, Jupiter, Earth and Sun, Sun, Earth and Moon, Moon, Jupiter and Earth, Mars, Earth and Mercury, and Venus, Jupiter and Sun, and that sort of thing. And I was going through all these other things in the astrology book as well. So, yeah, probably a good 12 hours just on those two sets of puzzles. Close to, at least. Maybe 10 hours. But anyway, we're back. We've got audio. I was in the process of reading the evidence,
I'd like to see the
the
torso case
reports
evidence
in this
again.
case.
Help yourself.
So we'll go back to report one. The torso killer's first victim has been identified as Angelo Satini, a 19-year-old white male. The victim's headless remains were recovered on the morning of August, blah, 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 by Andrew Wachowski, a local railroad employee on his way to work. They were found in a burlap sack washed ashore near a sewer outlet. It is believed that the killer disposed of the remains by throwing them into Lake Erie's tributaries or into the sewer system. The victim's head was found nearby police on the scene in a deli along Kingsbury Run. Unlike the rest of the remains, the victim's head had been carefully wrapped in newspaper and left near the railroad tracks. It is believed that the killer wished for the head to be found. Now, this guy is, I believe, the guy that we saw in that pool or pond, or with the vision of the guy hiding something in what looks like one of Flanagan's rooms, the one where we talked to Mulhaven. Coroner Gerber's autopsy reports that the victim had been dismembered in swift, clean strokes. The body had been bled dry and washed after dismemberment. Coroner Gerber estimates the time of death is 36 to 48 hours prior to recovery. He also indicates that there was no sign of a struggle, which would suggest that the victim may have been unconscious at the time of death. Statements taken by officers on hand reveal no witnesses or strange incidents near the sewer outlet or the railroad tracks. This implies that the killer was very careful when disposing of the body. It is presumed that the body was transported to this location after dismemberment, as there are no indications of tremendous blood loss anywhere near the recovery site. Well, the body was drained of blood, wasn't it?
Have you found any similarities among the torso victims?
Hard to tell what with the little bits left of them. Only stiff we've positively identified, other than your man, was the killer's first victim, a kid named Angelo Santini.
What do you make of that one?
Kid was a street hustler, petty thief. At first we thought maybe he crossed the wrong man, but when the other bodies started popping up, we knew Santini wasn't a revenge killing. We don't have a whole lot else on him.
Okay, can't change page, can I?
I wonder if this Santini's home bears checking into.
Yeah, bled dry. Yeah, it said in the report, bled dry. And then blood loss everywhere. No indication of blood loss. I'm like, yeah, we know why. The victim was last seen in the vicinity of 49th Street Pool Hall on the evening of August 15th. Several witnesses have come forward to place him at the scene, but further information has been scarce. He left alone at approximately 12:30 a.m. One witness claims he was returning to his home for the evening, but another witness indicates that he was going to the house of Gina Maria Tucci. Miss Tucci admits to having been involved with the victim, but says the victim never arrived at the house on that evening. She is specific in that regard, in that she remembers becoming angry at the victim for his failure to arrive as agreed upon. The victim has prior conviction as a juvenile on charges of theft and breaking and entering, and has spent several months at a home for wayward boys. He has been arraigned on further charges of petty theft and possession of stolen goods as an adult. But charges were dropped for lack of evidence. And given his history, there is some likelihood that the victim knew his killer, and that the killer exacted brutal revenge for some wrong perpetrated by the victim. Yeah, we don't think so. We know that the torso kill is draining blood for the gem, hence why we're trying to correlate the two cases together. Although Penske was investigating the Black Dahlia, but we're investigating the events leading to the Black Dahlia gem kind of thing. So we're working the same case just from different angles. So we're trying to link our case and the torso killings together. In light of further torso killings, some credence must be given to the idea that the victim did not know his killer and had been merely chosen at random, most likely. The victim lived at East Street, East 49th, okay. He is survived by his mother. Mrs. Santini has no knowledge of any connection between the victim and any potential perpetrators. Search of premises has revealed no useful information. Santini home. So the room that we saw in the vision must have been his place of residence, which just happened to look like Flanagan's house. We'll have a look. We'll end up going there, I believe. And we've got to look for a hole in the wall, a false door on the wall, basically.
Any crime scenes bear checking into?
Funny you should mention that, because there was one place I was just thinking about checking again. We found a few bodies around the pond just off of Kingsbury Run. The sewers all run into it. We thought he might be using them, but there are miles and miles of them. You might want to try checking them yourself.
Newspaper. October. Something or other, volume, something or other, number, something or other, 5. U-boats. Probably U-boats sinking.
What about the newspapers?
Damned if I know, kid. It's the strangest thing. The bodies came wrapped in them. Now, we thought he might be leaving behind a clue for us, but we haven't been able to figure out a pattern. Papers came from all sorts of different times, different places. Nothing sticks out. Maybe you can figure out a connection.
I'll do my best.
October 1 v no 5. Because they seem to be not so random. Just saying. Pike Inlet to Kingsbury Run. Yeah, June JE65VO. Mm-hmm. 26-0. Uh, 175. One, 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 one. 1, 1, 1, 1. Well, that number correlates to my notes are all a mess, aren't they? Here we go. Yeah, here we go. That would be sun. And this is, which is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So newspaper found around, wrapped around right hand, which is 1, 5. But that doesn't correlate to the first one. That correlates to Saturn. Upper torso is 6, 5, which correlates to Jupiter. No, Mars actually. But most likely the victim died on the 15th, assuming American date system. Which correlates to Saturn, but yeah. No, not that one. Newspapers. 6, 5, which is Mars, but this one is 15, which relates to Saturn. So we're missing Jupiter, which is 260, which is Mercury. 175 is Venus. I'm sensing something here. Okay, so if I do this, we've got 15 and 6, 5. 260. 175. 111. 69. No. 369. Yeah, December 3rd, 6, 9. So there you go. That was this one, wasn't it? Yeah. Then 34.
Where's the rest of the evidence?
What do you mean? It's all there.
Well, unless the killer changed his methods just for Louis Fisher, the rest of him should have been found wrapped up as neat as a butcher's steak.
Oh, nothing slips by you, does it, Hotshot? Thing is, that's all I've got. Winslow's been stalling with the evidence from Louis' murder for weeks. Says his boys have it in the lab. Now, if I was the cynical type, I'd say he was withholding evidence so I couldn't find the killer. I'd say he was trying to hog the credit for himself, while we working stiffs do all the work. But that'd just be if I was cynical.
Yeah, that impounded by FBI newspaper, it will be number 4. Now, the reason why I say this, because those numbers correlate to these planets. Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Earth, which is the same path that we took in that astrological plane with those spheres as planets. That's the exact same path we took. Coincidence? Nah. But can we use it as evidence? Nah. Anyway, let's have a look. Can you get those clues prior to? Probably not. Hmm. Hmm. Good grief. Victim number 1 was discovered August. His remains were scattered throughout Kingsbury Run and a nearby sewer outlet. Identified, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Victim number 2 was discovered on September, Kingsbury Run and a nearby sewer outlet. His victim is a white male, a transient, another term for a homeless guy. Victim number 3 was discovered on September. And the victim was a white female of indeterminate age. She was identified. To this day, only her torso has been recovered. I think she has been identified now. If you look at Black Dahlia police case, you'll probably find the similarities between this. It's just no mystical mumbo-jumbo stuff. Victim number 4 in Kingsbury Run, nearby Australia. The victim is a black male of indeterminate age who remains unidentified. Victim number 5 was discovered October under a bridge, while a white female believed to be a transient, unidentified. Head and torso recovered, remains badly decomposed. Estimated time of death several weeks prior. Victim number 6 was discovered in November, Kingsbury Run, and a nearby sewer outlet. The victim is a black female of indeterminate age. She remains unidentified. Lower legs, torso, right arm has been recovered. Victim number 7, November, near the Erie Railroad Trestle, along the east bank of the Cuyahoga River. The victim is a white male believed to be a transient in his early 40s. Probably the drunk guy that we saw. His head, right hand, and right leg have been recovered. Victim number 8 was discovered November, abandoned warehouse on the lakefront by Federal Operative James Pearson. Further remains were recovered November 27th along the banks of the Cuyahoga River. The victim has been identified as Lewis Fisher. The victim has several prior records. He is believed at one time to have been a member of Dutch Schultz's gang, although he was currently out of favour with local organised crime. The victim was last seen at St. Bartholomew's Mission. So all those tokens that we saw next to that pool were all tokens of the victims. And there was one of us, so yeah, we're next, kind of thing. Right. Okay.
Thanks, Detective.
Anything for you, kid.
There was some ruckus with that Von Hess fella.
Yeah. Funny how he just happened to get caught back there like that, huh?
Yeah, it was funny that way.
I got a little something for you. I don't know why I pocketed this, but I did. I got mad when Ness handed that crowd over to Winslow, so I kept it. This'll probably do you more good than it will me. I don't know what it is, but I saw the crowd drop it. He seemed plenty upset when he couldn't find it.
Thanks, Detective. This might be a big help.
Kraut's a racist term.
Do you know what happened to the medallion Von Hess had on him?
What?
The medallion. It was shaped like an iron cross. He had it with him at the party.
Sorry, kid, I don't know anything about that. But if he had it with him at the party, the FBI should have found it when they tossed him.
Oh, we've got a whole heap of place to go. We'll go back here.
Jimbo! What can I do you for?
Well, you can stop sleeping with your secretary, for starters.
Did you find anything on Von Hess?
No, nothing important. Just some papers, money, that sort of thing.
No medallion?
Well, yes, now that you mention it, he did have some sort of cross on him. Why? What's so important about it?
I think that medallion plays a part in my investigation. I'm not sure what just yet, but I'd like to get my hands on it.
Oh, no, that's not too likely. Now, he may have had his hand caught in the cookie jar, but he's still an important diplomat. Now, we just can't pass around his personal belongings now, can we, sport?
He stole that medallion.
Do you have any proof of that?
No.
Then I'm afraid there's nothing I can do.
Well, again, it's probably in your safe, so you probably can. You just don't want to, because you're, one, an egomaniac, two, self-centered, three, want to be the one that solves everything, or the cause of everything. Hands up if you find him suspicious.
Detective Merlo tells me you've still got some of the evidence in the torso case.
Our boys are going over the evidence very thoroughly. We've had a late start on this case. Marillo's been working on it far longer than us, and he's gotten nowhere. Now that we've been called in, we intend to do the job right. If there's one thing in this world I can't abide, it's incompetence.
Oh, so it's not because Detective Merlo has a leg up on you like he says.
I'm going to be the man to catch this killer. But I suppose I should look into it and make sure my men return the evidence once they're done with it.
Which will be never. That's how it works, isn't it? Satini's home, we'll go there.
This is his room. The police already searched here many times. I don't know why you need to see it again.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just new to the case. Just thought I'd have a look around, see if I could see anything that maybe some of the other detectives might have missed.
You leave things the way you found them. You won't disturb anything.
You won't even know I've been here, ma'am. I'll leave this place exactly as I found it. I was raised to pay respect for the departed. Do you know of anybody that would have wanted to harm your boy, ma'am?
Everyone loved my Angelo. He was a sweet angel.
Do you recall him getting into any fights? Someone with a grudge against your son?
My Angelo was not killed because of a grudge. He was killed by a monster. My boy never hurt nobody. He was a good boy.
I'm sure he was, ma'am. I'm sure he was.
Yeah, this is the room that we saw, isn't it?
I'm going to leave you alone now. I would just be in your way here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, now we've got access to the room properly. Marketing blackout curtains, I assume? With extremely sheer dress. Don't know if we need to do anything with that. I don't think it's part of anything we need to worry about though. I highly doubt the kid has puzzles. Oh, yeah, porn. They'll make you blind, you know. Hello. Hello. Nope, nope. That one doesn't go all the way down, does it? Hmm. This one's awfully suspicious though. Hmm. Come back to that if we need to. You knew this was here kind of thing, though. According to Oglin, the ceremony that they gathered to pursue had originally been recorded in the ancient runic text called the Thule Prophecy. Independent inquiries into the validity of this document indicates that it does indeed exist. It is an odd mix of pagan and early Christian Celtic folklore, which originated among the rebellious proclamations of the East Frisian tribal leaders who, in 800 AD, and under the influence of their Viking cousins to the north, conspired to throw off the Holy Roman yoke and return to the free and easy lifestyle of their pagan ancestors. The rebellion was, of course, crushed by the Charlemagne, who consequently ordered the codification of the Germanic tribal law in order to protect such disgruntled citizens.
Mr. Santini, I am indeed interested in the items that you described to me at our last meeting. I have made arrangements to supply you with payment in the amount that you requested. Meet me on Thursday at the usual time and place where the exchange can occur. I promise you that I will not be late this time and that your security will not be compromised. Walter Pensky.
So that's how Mr. Pensky got those runes. I guess Angelo did cross the wrong guy after all.
Mrs. Santini? Mrs. Santini!
What is it?
I'm sorry to have disturbed his room, ma'am, but I found something. I know this can't compensate for the loss of your son, but I know that Angelo would have wanted you to have this.
Bless you, Mr. Pearson. You're a good boy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so we no longer go to there. We can go to the Raven Room, but we kind of need to go to Kingsbury Run, I think. Screw it, we'll go to the Raven Room. Now, if we go here, got another puzzle, which should be here. Yeah, I just gotta remember how this goes, though. No, I don't think it's anything like that. I just gotta figure out how to click on, how to do the puzzle kind of thing. Might have something to do like this, though. Yeah, it's something like that anyway. Considering how, yeah. I see, I see. We need to have these yellow ones showing. We're probably going to fold that in there like that. Probably fold this one in here. Probably not that way though. Because if we fold this up, we'll be able to do that and that. But we can't fold this down here like that though. It's a bit of a pain. How did I fold this already? No, nope. Nope. Yeah, a good question, isn't it? Because if I do that, fold that down there like that, it still won't, will it? No. Nope. Did I fold it up? Okay, can do that. That should be it. And then we probably need to start here. Maybe go this way around or that way around. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to jot these down. You want that one. I think that's the way. Yeah, that way. And this one's the other way around. Yeah, I got that one right. And that one is just, I think, yeah. That's the same as that one. So, yeah. I'm gonna need a bit more help on that one. Because if we start there, then that one's that one, and that one's that one, that one's right, and then that one, right, then it's this one, that's, then that one, I think I might have gotten it a bit wrong, written it down a bit wrong, but okay, so I can't press these ones down here. Okay, that makes a bit more sense then. We start with this one, that one, then that one, that one, that one, then that one, and that one, and that one. Yeah. And we're back here again. That looks like those stamps, doesn't it? Oh dear. But this was the astrological symbol, was astrological chart that I was referring to during the spheres and planetary path. Basically, when you start here and have to end here, but it doesn't have to be in this particular order though. But that's the way I saw it. So, yeah. While I'm here, just check a few things. That one, that one. Yeah, no real. That one, then 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 there. Oh yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, does it? There you go. They're all the symbols that's used in the texts. But that's F E H U, I believe, A R C C K and Q, I believe. Not, it's one or the other, not either, not all of them. That's G. Can't remember. I think that's the AE one. It's a symbol with a A and E joined together, basically. That was P. Y, yeah. S H N I. Not sure. I think it's the I with two dots above it. O D N G or ING. L M EBT. Joe DiMaggio. Interesting. It's probably what the Iron Cross goes to, too. Probably means we probably shouldn't be here, kind of thing. We've already gotten what was in here, though, so that's something. And then there's just that, which we've gone through. I thought that this was torn, but maybe not. No. Yeah, I don't think we're meant to be here, kind of thing. These coat of arms might be arranged in a particular order, too. Oh, well, if we're not meant to be here, because I can't seem to interact with anything. Alright. We'll need to go here, which will cause us to change to CD5. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to check out my other content, and I appreciate everything you do. Adios. Till the next time, amigos.